Good evening. Good evening, everyone. I'm so excited. I have never done this before. And I have been super cheeky because I'm using a filter. I did not want to put any makeup on at this time of the day. It's really good to see who's joining us. I'm going to invite Cathriona anyway. So let's see. There. I'm going to wait a few minutes and wait for her to join us. But I actually have to let you know a few things, okay, before we start. So today I'm going to talk to Cathriona Hodgins. She's a nutritional therapist. She specializes in, as much as I know, but maybe we better ask her exactly so I don't mess it up. So she specializes in female hormones and weight loss a little bit. She does diabetes and pre-diabetes. She also runs clinic mainly around menopause, perimenopause, and everything around that topic. Yes, she's here. Hey, Cathriona, how are you? So, and we will be talking about perimenopause and brain fog that's affecting me now lately. But before we start, we'll still wait maybe another minute. I just want to see what time it is exactly, 8 o'clock, okay? So I want to let you know a little bit about Cathriona. And then, oh, she's unable to join. Okay, we might message her and see what's happening. Okay, I did see she joined. Cathriona, are you here? No, let's see why not. Accept, yeah. Sorry, my fault. This is a do and learn sort of thing. I've never done this, so let's see. Yes, she's here.
Here.
Oh my God. Thank God it happened. I wasn't sure if it's gonna.
Nerve-wracking in just those 30 seconds beforehand because you never know, am I going to join or not?
Yeah, exactly. I never done this, so I was like, let's give it a try. It's only last minute. I done a trial, a practice live to see how I can let
Oh,
you in and all that. So this is great. You can actually do that on Instagram.
but great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so excited to do this. I've never done anything like this, and I hope everybody's who's watching feeling the same thing. It's just one thing I wanted to say, and then I let you introduce yourself because I don't want to say anything silly. So just want to say something how I know Cathriona. So we are both member of Network Island, that is an incredible female-led organization. And by the way, if you're local to us, so what it means if you're Counterpart Common, I would highly, highly recommend to join Network Island. If you have any questions, the both of us can help. And by the way, we are having a cafe morning tomorrow morning in Ballahadrim. I think it starts at 10:30. But I'm going to put the link for everything what we'll be talking about under the recording this evening. So, Cathriona, it's all yours now. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, I'm Cathriona Hodgins, based in Athlone, and met Timmy through the network, the Roscommon network. I'm focused on women's health. Over the last number of years, I have been more focused on menopause and perimenopause because I have been in that myself and I've been working my way through it. So I've been kind of sharing what I had to go off and learn and study with my clients. So women's health, and I think there's been so much discussed about menopause in the last few years, which is fantastic, and it's great. We're all talking more, and we can go and talk freely to our doctors, and there's so much about menopause. But I do think that we still have a long way to go, and I do think there's a lot more that we do need to discuss to support ourselves during these years.
Yeah, absolutely. Big time. And you know what I was thinking? How can we get this out to men? Because like I could be like sometimes I have young teenagers sort of but she says she's a tween and she's going through this hormonal changes, and so am I. And then we would be joking in the house and he's looking at us like, what the heck is wrong with these two? So how that's another topic for maybe some other day, or this might
Yeah,
be a really good opportunity if you're going through it, or some of you the viewers are going through it. Just give the husband the link to watch, so they understand a little bit, because they have not a clue, and I believe it's
no,
very hard to live with us going through it anyway.
hard for us.
And then you have sorry now for interrupting. You have You have a family as well. Just you have two boys, don't you?
No, I have two girls. So I have
Oh my God, sorry.
a teenager and a preteen as well. And so, I think that has made it harder as well for me that, I was going through all these perimenopause symptoms, and my daughter was starting her hormonal journey, at 12, and I was starting my decline, I suppose, in my hormones. She was full of estrogen. I was starting to lose my estrogen. And, that can be a real clash. That can be really hard to work through, so suddenly when you want a hug from your daughter, she doesn't want to give you a hug anymore,
Yeah.
and that was hard. And I think that's something, I wasn't expecting. I didn't know how to deal with,
Mm.
and it's something that we should be thinking about how we're going to prepare ourselves if we're starting, the perimenopause journey, and we know we have a preteen in the house. That's something to think about, how you're going to deal with that. And, I'm talking to my daughters about menopause.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to particularly listen to me or hear about it, but I am telling them, that this is what's going to happen
Mm-hmm.
in 30 odd years for them, possibly, at that stage. And I think we should be
Yeah.
talking. Uh,
So let's just, sorry now, let's just make it clear for everyone. God knows who's watching us. There's loads of them anyway, loads of ladies so far I can see watching us. So tell us just briefly and clearly so we can understand what exactly perimenopause and when does it start, what does it involve, and how can we realize we are going through it, we are in it.
Okay, so perimenopause is when you start to have some symptoms, and it's a number of years before we go into full menopause. Full menopause is 1 year. So perimenopause can start anywhere from a year to 4 years before that stage. So we are in perimenopause for a number of years potentially. So that's something as well that I think we need to kind of get our head around and accept. And it was a bit of a shock to me when I realized, when I was having, and I was thinking, oh my God, am I going to have these symptoms for years? And I didn't. And we don't. But we're going through different phases within perimenopause. So there can be 3 phases within it. There's the very early stage where we mightn't have any symptoms at all, but maybe we notice our cycle is starting to
Mm-hmm.
change ever so slightly. So say we are a very regular 28-day cycle, suddenly that changes to a 26-day cycle. That could be the very, very start of your perimenopause. It's not causing you any problems whatsoever. So that's your first stage of it. The second stage, then you might find you've suddenly skipped a month. So you had no period for a month, and then you're back to normal again. Maybe you're starting to notice a few small symptoms, or maybe you're not. For me, my very first symptom, which I didn't connect with perimenopause whatsoever, it's only now when I look back that I connect, it was joint pain. I was getting out of bed in the morning and I felt like an old lady, and I had all these joint aches and pains, and I was trying to figure out what was something that I was doing wrong with my exercise. Did I need to exercise more? Did I need to exercise less? Did I need to stretch more? That was one of the very early stages, but I didn't connect that at all to perimenopause.
That's really good. Now, that explains everything to me because I am exactly what you said. Like I am ticking all the boxes. So I was very regular, 28 days, and suddenly everything went down to 3 weeks, 21 days. I was like, oh my God, the joys of it. I thought it, we're gonna have it sort of maybe not more often, exactly the opposite. And then I had it for about 6 months, like you could count on it, 21 days, 21 days. And then suddenly nothing happened for 3 months. I was like, yay, well, it's over.
Yeah.
And then
No.
and then it came back. And then in between I had a random hot flush. And then I was lying in bed. I was like, oh my God, it's like something really hot scanning your body. I was like, oh my God, this is a new experience. And I sort of enjoyed it the first time. It's like a hot scan. It's like, wow. And then everything else came with it, obviously. The brain fog is the hilarious thing. Is I just, but no, like I literally went through it like this. I don't have joint pain yet.
And you may not. And look, when you look at the list of symptoms, there's 40, 50, 60, it keeps getting added to the list. So not everyone gets all the symptoms. Some ladies might sail through it within a year. some ladies might not have any symptoms. But I do think that majority of the symptoms are very much linked to our brain function. It's very much a change in state of our brain. That's one thing I really realized from my reading around and my research, that it's our brain changes over a few years, and it's working with your brain. I think the big thing is awareness, becoming aware. I didn't realize the joint pain was part of it.
And can I just ask, so we understand, so why does all this happen? So what is, why does it happen basically?
So estrogen, our friend estrogen that floods our bodies when we're teens and makes us strong and makes us very fertile and gives us all that strength over the years, that is starting to fluctuate in our bodies. And we would have all thought, like myself, that, we had estrogen and progesterone for fertility reasons.
Yeah.
And that was, it helped us get pregnant. That was their job. And certainly that's one of the roles of those hormones in our bodies. But we have receptors for estrogen all over our body. Most organs have receptors, so it's binding to receptors around our bodies, like a lock and a key, that kind of thing. Our brain is flooded with receptors for estrogen, and that's been shown in very, very recent, just this year, research done by amazing lady, I think she's American, a neuroscientist that I follow. She's done some studies. She's scanned menopausal ladies' brains and has seen the change in the fluctuation in estrogen from the various receptors. So that was really kind of groundbreaking research. So our brain, there's what's going on in particular with brain fog, and it can be a really anxious sort of symptom, because you feel like you're going mad.
Well, you have seen my video, haven't you? It's
Yes.
like, it's not like, sometimes I can't think of a word in English when there's other things going on in my head. But then I was thinking I could not think of the actual, the whole experience in any word, in any language. And I was like, does the word even exist, what I'm trying to find here? I was like, oh my God, what's going on here? It's like a complete blackout.
So brain fog, what is it? I mean, it can be different for everybody as well. And certainly, when you ask a man, do you ever get brain fog? I've asked men and they're just like, they don't know what that means. But brain fog, it can be memory problems, forgetting words just dropping out of your head mid-sentence, not being able to, have the normal kind of mental clarity that you normally have, losing that, at certain times of the day, maybe not being able to concentrate on your work, not being able to focus, losing the kind of common word finding ability that we have when we go to say something, and it's happened to me. I've gone to point to a household kitchen appliance and said, what is that called? And because I couldn't name it. But I've heard that story from so many women, that they can't remember basic things. I found personally balance was an issue for a while. Parking my car was an issue. Just my whole sense of spatial awareness was a problem at times as well. And that was all back to, brain fog. So with brain fog, what's happening? It's an energy crisis going on in the brain. Our brain relies on glucose for its fuel. Okay, we fuel our body every day with glucose from our foods, our carbs, our veg, our fruit. Glucose is the main provider of fuel for the brain. So it doesn't have a storage capacity. It can't store. We can store fuel as fat stores on our body. The brain can't. So it needs a constant kind of drip feeding of glucose. But what pushes the glucose into the brain is estrogen. So when I realized this, it just made so much sense to me. It really helped understand the brain fog and a lot of my symptoms. So what's happening in those perimenopause years, our estrogen is fluctuating. So we might have normal days, we might have low days, we might have high days. So when we have days with low estrogen, we're not able to get that glucose to the brain to be able to focus and concentrate and remember words. So it's an energy crisis in the brain. So there is real science behind it. women say to me all the time, if I got dementia, I feel like I'm going crazy. And I felt like that too. There's a scientific reason for it. And when I realized that, it made me feel so much better about my symptoms. It made me so much aware of my symptoms. It made me really tune in to when it was happening to me. You know, so you need to get to know your brain fog. Is it the morning first thing? Is it after a bad night's sleep?
And
Is it
is it sorry now, is it always like, if it comes in the morning, you can always link it back to something. If you understand when it happens, you can always link to
yes.
why. Okay,
So
okay.
because you've had a bad night's sleep. Now
Mm.
I know you've been very busy lately. Very,
Yes,
you had a great week at the ploughing.
yes, thank
I
you.
saw you at TVAM. So you're probably one of the busiest ladies that I know right now. So, is your brain fog bad when you're having a busy day? Maybe you've only had 5 hours sleep because you're getting up at a crazy time to go to a market. Um, is
Yeah,
it because
yeah, like my very last one happened to me after obviously a very busy day prior to that, and actually think Vicky was little one wasn't well, and she was kicking me all night, and then I woke up, and you remember I just like I literally have a list for everything what in case I forget, but I was so brain fogged I forgot to look at the list. So yeah, but it definitely the sleep is probably because I find it usually comes to me. Yeah, no, that's good. So once I mind my sleep, I should be
sleep
able to get rid of these.
is huge? Sleep is huge throughout
Mhm.
perimenopause. Um, we really need to prioritize it. And, we don't, for years and years, we skimp on it and we'll say, oh, I'll catch up. And, we can get away with it, but now we need to make it a priority. We need to be trying to get 7 or 8 hours sleep. We need to be making sure we're hydrated as well. If you're dehydrated, you could feel some brain fog. If you're skipping meals with our large gaps between meals, we're not getting the glucose into the brain. So that's
And
your
then And when you're saying dehydrated, like I had a crazy sauna session today, and when people come to the sauna, I always tell them, you really have to be careful and you have to hydrate before and after. But I also tell them it's not just the water what you drink. So, like, I take electrolytes after the sauna, and I always do because if not, I'm exhausted for the rest of the day. So, when we are saying dehydrated, is it like the water, or it's really we really have to pile on
so when you're
electrolytes?
going into your sauna, you're sweating.
Yeah.
It's at a very high temperature. You're sweating. I know you're dipping into I saw you getting into your ice bath. I still wouldn't be as brave as you to stay in so long, but you're getting back into the sauna, and you're sweating. When we sweat, we lose our
Yeah.
magnesium, sodium, lose potassium, and we can feel really off when we lose those and don't replace them.
Mm-mm.
So if we're exercising a lot, for training hard for something at the moment, we could lose some of our electrolytes. Um, if we're skipping meals, not eating properly, we could lose some as well. So we do be replacing them. We do need to be hydrated. When I have a moment of brain fog, I think, have I drunk enough water? Have I had too much coffee?
Mhm.
What's my sleep? I think of all these that come straight into my brain. Um, to kind of to check on those on my day. So it's
So
important.
it's really important to not to skip a meal. And is it important what we put into a meal? Like, what way we build up our meal, what way we put a meal together. Do we obviously we need more protein. Everybody says we need more protein. But what else we have to be conscious of when we are having a meal so it is actually serving us, at least,
Yes.
when going through perimenopause.
Well, I think you mentioned protein there, and yes, that is really important for us as we go into menopause. We start to lose some muscle mass, and
Mm.
another change in the body because of the lowering of estrogen. Um, we want to maintain the strength and muscle mass that we have, and protein helps us with that. Um, most people that I meet, female and male, I have to say, are not eating enough protein. We should be targeting about a gram per kilo of our body. So if you're 70, 80 kilos, that's 70 or 80 grams a day. So it's important to have protein at each meal. And what we get from protein, so protein is our meats, our fish, our eggs, our beans, our nuts, if you're a vegetarian. we get a lot of amino acids which support the brain, support the neurotransmitters in the brain. We also get a lot of vitamins, things like, iron and B12, folate. These in themselves can cause a bit of fog. If our B12 is low, if somebody has a lot of brain fog, have you had a blood test? How's your B12? And that's something that we should all be doing as we go into perimenopause. Be thinking now is a good time to have a checkup with the doctor.
So I can go to the doctor and tell them, listen, I think I'm going through this and I want to get my bloods done to check for what I might be low on and what I have to be conscious of and what I could do
Yeah.
to make myself a little bit better.
Especially if you've been low in the past. If B12 has been low, iron has been low, which can be for many women, this is a time when, maybe we need to check in on that again and top up on it, with supplements, and certainly getting, levels in our diet. B12 is in all animal, our folate, get it through our green, and even checking on vitamin D levels as well, important to have good vitamin D levels. But certainly nutritional deficiencies can be part of brain fog for people. So it's important to have a checkup. You can get your hormones checked as well, but it's hard to get a good read on them in perimenopause because they are fluctuating. So
And that's
you
what I remember. I used to have problems with overactive thyroid, and I got to a point where I really knew from my body how I felt, if it's overactive or it's normal. And I could go and get my bloods done, and I'd be lying down on the bed, and my bloods come back normal. But I remember half an hour after coming back home from the blood test, I knew I felt very different. So yeah, it was very false results every time I sort of got my bloods done, because I knew when it was fine, and it was usually fine when I got the bloods done, but it usually wasn't when I wasn't getting the bloods done. Yeah, that's
yeah.
very,
So I
yeah.
think we do need to take them on board, be aware of them, and track them. And I would recommend, I started to do that at the very beginning, is to track my symptoms. Now I was simply doing it in a notebook every month. How was my cycle? How was my joint pain? How was my brain fog? How was my sleep? How was my gut health? Um, how was my period? Was it heavy? Was it light? So I was tracking. Now there's a great app now that you can use, and I'd highly recommend the Balance app by Dr. Gemma Newson. She's a GP who specializes in menopause, and she's a brilliant app called Balance. And
Thank you.
the free app you find to use. There's a huge amount of information in it to help guide you that you can read, but there's also a great way of tracking your symptoms as well. The app is still on my phone, and while I'm not actively tracking anything at the moment, the reminders keep coming up on my phone, and because the reminder is there, it's making me check in and think about myself for a few seconds every second day or so. How is everything? How's the brain? How's the brain fog? All the symptoms that I would have had, they make me think, have I had any hot flushes in a while? Or night sweats,
So
and
hot flushes are obviously caused with the same. It's estrogen are fluctuating in our body, and then that's the same, obviously.
and it's the brain reacting to that. So they're all
Okay.
symptoms.
Yeah.
Most of the symptoms in perimenopause are reflection of a changing pattern in your brain.
Okay.
And
I don't want to cut you short at all. I just have to be conscious of the time because I don't want to go over too much. But we had two questions here, which I just want to make sure we answer. And there's one here, but I just want to quickly scroll through. You remember I sent you on a little question somebody asked. And so as you were talking, I think we have answered Misha's question. So her brain fog is purely done because her hormones are absolutely irregulated at the minute because she has been off the pill for a little while. Am I right?
yes, and she also did say in the message that she did have an underactive at some point. So she's going back into checking that, and I think, yes, that's a great thing to do, to check on your thyroid. With an underactive thyroid, you can have brain fog associated with that anyway.
Okay.
So brain fog from that, and there could be brain fog from perimenopausal symptoms. So I think absolutely go and get the thyroid checked. The thyroid is a really important gland. It controls metabolism, controls how we, manage and burn our calories. It really controls our energy in the body. So it's a really important thing to be mindful of. Um, at perimenopause, a lot of issues can develop for women. We're more at risk at heart disease. A lot of women can develop an underactive thyroid, and
Okay. Okay.
estrogen has
Okay.
other hormones. So I think if it's been a problem in the past, maybe you regulated it, it's always worth checking around this time. How is the thyroid doing, thyroid function?
Perfect. Thank you so much. There's another question there, and it's from Ildiko. She has, if someone has constant hormonal troubles, does that affect the start of menopause? So if somebody doesn't have sort of a balanced hormone levels, would she start earlier? I think she's younger. To be honest with you, would it bring it earlier, or it's not necessary?
Like perimenopause can start, from early 40s for some women. I suppose typically it would be mid 40s to late 40s for most women. In Ireland, the typical age for full menopause is about 51 or 52 years.
Okay, okay. So I have a
But
few more years to go
yeah,
of this
yeah.
madness. Cool.
So
Okay.
no, I mean, for some ladies, just because they've had hormone problems, it may settle because their estrogen is going to lower, so they might have more relief. If somebody has that very heavy periods and maybe high estrogen all their lives, once it starts to lower for them, they might get a lot of relief. You
Okay.
know, certainly somebody who maybe had endometriosis, that can be linked to high estrogen. Once that starts to reduce in the body, they can get a lot of relief. So it
Okay.
can, a lot of people, the start, it shouldn't come on any earlier. I don't think there's anything there to suggest that it would be earlier or later. We can be very much like our mothers or our older sisters,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
ask them and talk to them. What was their symptoms like? You
Perfect. Okay, thank you so much. So just sum it up very briefly. So basically everything is happening because the estrogen is fluctuating in our body, and we can definitely help our symptoms by tracking it and figure it out when they come, when the brain fog comes, with diet, with nutritious food, with lifestyle. I presume exercise is really important
yeah,
as well. And so but tell me just one thing so people understand it better. So if somebody's going through this and cannot handle it on their own, and they want to go to you or anybody else, you obviously work online too. And so when somebody goes to you, they give you all their symptoms, and you have like a personalized plan for them. And then you work online too, don't you? So it's not just
of
person.
based on that alone, but consultations as well. So I would send out a questionnaire and get, information back on their health history, any current symptoms, what their diet is like, diet and lifestyle. So we would work through that and put a plan together, and looking at how digestion is, how sleep is, how their energy is, and then their symptoms, and then looking through their day. How do they start the day? What is there a lot of tea and coffee? Are they having 3 meals a day? Is there a lot of snacking? Is there a lot of late eating? And structure the day better to help them manage their symptoms.
Can I ask one more question? This is again a little bit personal. So, how does stress affects it? So it's not like I'm not stressed, but yes, of course, I have loads going on. I'm trying to keep my stress levels as low as possible. Um, but if some people going through, or some ladies going through stress, and may have stressful work, or a teenager in the house, how does that affect all?
Course it does. It's stress. It might affect our sleep. It might affect our eating habits.
Yeah,
We're going to
yeah,
deplete
yeah.
things we need. We're going to deplete our B vitamins. We're going to deplete our magnesium. So if we have raised cortisol, one of our stress hormones, is have an impact on our symptoms. So, and I know that's hard. It can be hard for a lot of people to get their stress under control, but we need to prioritize our sleep. We need that stress. The big stress reset button for us every single day is sleep.
Okay, tell me, because you recommended me something. I don't know if you're still working for the same company or not. You can say the brand name if you like. What you gave me for sleep, and I'm so thankful for it. I'm taking it every day, and if I skip it, I'm fucked.
Yeah,
So what is that, what we have to take for good sleep?
I take it every night as well. So look, I take magnesium, B vitamins. These are your best friends during perimenopause. So magnesium I recommend to every woman that I meet. And for all ages, major who was just starting her periods and is having painful periods, she needs some magnesium to help her. You know, magnesium will help us relax. It'll help us deal with the stress. It'll help us get into that deeper sleep at night, so that we do
it,
that
it
stress.
it makes a massive difference to me, and it's not because, but as I said, I'm trying to manage my stress levels, but there's loads going on and loads I cannot get done in the day, and when I go to bed I'm like, this and this and this has to be there. But it's definitely helping me to calm, to ease, and have a good night's sleep. And yeah, no, it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's really good. Okay, we are at 29 minutes now, and then I said we're gonna go on for 20 minutes, so I have to cut it. But I want to make sure if we have some local ladies watching, they can reach out to you. And there's an event what's happening, and we must mention that because you'll be there, and I believe you will have a talk there.
Yeah.
So there's the Wellness and I better just see Wellness and Vitality Fair is happening on the 13th of October, and that's organized by Network Ireland Roscommon branch, and it is going to be in Stokesand Park House. And it's a half a day. Yeah, I think it starts at 10:30 and on until 3 o'clock. And the day is going to be filled with interactive workshops and expert talks. There will be, I believe, yoga, perhaps meditation.
Yeah.
I don't know the full program. I never got a chance to look at it. And you will have a talk there about.
So jam-packed day. There'll be 20 wellness providers from the Roscommon Longford area there with stands. There'll be 9 ladies offering wellness talks or activities like yoga, breath work, meditation. If you'd like to hear more about brain fog, if this is resonating with you tonight and you'd like to hear more, I'll be there speaking about menopause and brain fog and other symptoms. So I'll be there speaking. We'll put the link up afterwards, but there's tickets available now online. There's an early bird price at the moment for €35. Such good value for a full 10:30 to 3, and it's all Roscommon based local businesses with
yeah, and I have to say we had something similar last year, and that was a huge success. I only made half of it last year, and I'm so sad I'm gonna miss it, but I'll be out of the country. But if anybody wants to try our goodies, so I'm gonna have somebody there with my products as well. You'll be able to sample, you'll be able to see, you'll be able to have a chat with Cathriona. It's such a relaxed day. It's all beautiful females, and I can highly recommend. We're gonna put the link below. And Cathriona, I have to say thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me. But we are not saying goodbye forever, yeah? So I'm gonna have you back next weekend.
Yes.
Yes.
Next Sunday we'll be again about pre-diabetes and diabetes.
Yeah, another topic which really, really resonates with me and with many of my customers. Thank you so much for joining us, Cathriona. Thank you so much for everyone joining us. I haven't seen any more questions coming in right now. I think we answered everything came in, and then we definitely mentioned loads of things about perimenopause and brain fog. And Cathriona, one more thing quickly. Where can they find you? Where can everyone find you?
My website is cathriona so you can look me up there. You can send me an email. You can I have a 20-minute health review on that, so you can fill out that form and we can
appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I have one more thing left to say. So Cathriona is back next Sunday. We try and do, and maybe a little bit shorter because I said we won't go on for too long. This was 32 minutes. Just one more thing, because there's something which has a time limit on it. There I have a competition running for €100 worth of hamper, and everyone who signs up to my emails until midnight tonight enters into the draw for the €100 worth of hamper. You can pick what you want in it, so that's the plus. So if you haven't yet signed up to my emails, please do. If you think you have, please do it again, because I deleted everyone accidentally. So thank you so much for everyone watching, and really looking forward to next Sunday evening with Cathriona again. Thank you, Cathriona.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, bye.